Today, her party is making that same pitch again to save democracy, but they would rather not be reminded of the emergency or Indira's defense for it. Which is why the Congress is now up in arms as the Modi government marks 50 years of the emergency in Parliament. Today was day 4 of the first session of the 18th Lok Sabha, and for the 4th consecutive day, the dark chapter of emergency echoed in the House. Today, as President Droupadi Murmu took to the podium to give her customary address to the joint sitting of Parliament, she made reference to the biggest and darkest chapter in Indian history. She said the Constitution has stood up to every challenge and every test in the past decades. And as she did that, there was uproar from the opposition benches. In the same fashion as there was when Speaker Om Birla yesterday spoke about it, and today when Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar raised the issue in Parliament. Listen to what transpired.
ये सदन 1975 में देश में आपातकाल इमरजेंसी लगाने के निर्णय की कड़े शब्दों में निंदा करता है। भारत के इतिहास में 25 जून 1975 के उस दिन को हम हमेशा काले अध्याय के रूप में जाना जाएगा। इस दिन तत्कालीन प्रधानमंत्री श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी ने देश में इमरजेंसी लगाई और बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर द्वारा निर्मित संविधान पर प्रचंड प्रहार किया था।
25 जून 1975 को लागू हुआ आपातकाल संविधान पर सीधे हमले का सबसे बड़ा और काला अध्याय था। तो पूरे देश में हाहाकार मच गया था, लेकिन ऐसी असंवैधानिक ताकतों पर देश ने विजय प्राप्त करके दिखाया।
Imposition of emergency on 25th June 1975 was the biggest and darkest chapter of direct attack on the Constitution.
Over the last 24 hours, we've seen massive uproar inside the House over what first the Speaker said, today what the President said, and then the Vice President echoing it. In fact, the Speaker's address yesterday and then the 2-minute silence that was observed has triggered a bitter war of words between the Congress and the BJP. The former accusing Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla of playing a partisan role. Today, the Grand Old Party shot off a letter to Om Birla. They emphasized that his remarks were inappropriate in the parliamentary setting, especially since it was one of the first duties he performed as a newly elected Speaker. In that letter, the Grand Old Party claimed that such a political reference that was made from the chair yesterday is completely unprecedented. It's so unprecedented that we've never seen it in the history of Parliament, the Congress said. They went on to say that this matter impacts the very credibility of the institution of Parliament, and which is why the Speaker must not have raised it. They also then said that we express our profound concern and anguish. This is nothing but travesty of parliamentary traditions, is what the Congress went on to say about Om Birla raising emergency yesterday. Today, when President Droupadi Murmu said the same thing, there was uproar once again. But today, as the 50-minute speech happened of President Droupadi Murmu, the opposition raised multiple issues with it. Shiv Sena UBT faction claimed that it was not a president's address, but a Modi address. What they seem to forget is that the president's speech is meant to be the government's viewpoint. It is in fact drafted by the government, and that's the norm. It's not this government's whim. Shashi Tharoor of the Congress party objected to the mention of the emergency by the president. It's a divisive issue. Why should the president have raised it, he asked. But the fact is that as per norms of the Constitution, as per the rules under which this address is made in the first place, there's absolutely no provision as to what should be mentioned and what not. It's not the government, it's not the president really, it's the government's viewpoint, and the president is merely the messenger. AIMIM's Asudin Owaisi said there's nothing new in this address. It's an old wine in new bottle, he said. But this address by the president contains a review of the activities and achievements of the government during the previous year, or a track record of the government, most of which perhaps has been listed by many within the government in the past. Maybe that's why it all seems old. Another opposition party MP said there was nothing but a political statement by the president and there was no insight on policies of this government. But the fact is that President Droupadi Murmu did speak of this government's policies and the blueprint ahead. She said that the budget, which would be presented next month by Nirmala Sitharaman, would be a document of far-reaching policies and a futuristic vision. So then, is this opposition just for the sake of it? Is the emergency reminder an uncomfortable one for the Congress especially? And if this is the tone at the start of the Parliament session, then is more confrontation in store? Let's take that to our guests who join us on the Hard Facts. Shahzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, Pushpraj Deshpande, spokesperson of the Congress, senior journalist Javed Ansari, Karan Verma, political analyst, joins us. Let me open this up by first asking the spokesperson of the Congress. Mr. Deshpande, what is the issue exactly? Why has the Congress taken so much offence? The emergency is an undeniable part of Indian history. It's 50 years of it being marked. That is exactly what was being done in Parliament.
Hi, Poonamji. Thank you for having me on your show. Firstly, the President, the Vice President of India, the Speaker, the Prime Minister, all want us to remember the emergency which happened 50 years ago. That's perfectly their prerogative. But they don't want us to remember or address the NEET scam, the NET scam, the multiple terror attacks that have happened in Jammu and Kashmir, or the stock market scam. These are, nevertheless, even though the BJP is behaving as if it's business as usual, it has clearly taken the message India has sent in this election to heart. That's why it's raising the bogey of emergency. It is doing so to deflect attention from the pervasive perception, and that was very visible in this election, that the BJP is systematically undermining constitutional and institutional values, and that it wants to amend the constitution to end reservation, secularism, socialism. I'm not sure if the Indian public is going to be taken in by this deception, especially when it has the BJP government has undermined federal principles, civic liberties and rights, and deployed institutions for partisan ends in the last decade, things that it is expecting the people to remember from 50 years ago. It is especially ironic for the Speaker to read out a statement condemning the emergency, given under his stewardship, an unprecedented 155 MPs were suspended. 76% of the bills passed in the last 5 years, passed without any legislative scrutiny. And we didn't have a deputy speaker for 5 years, a historic first since independence. The executive clearly treated Parliament as a personal jagir. Secondly, no one is defending the excesses of the emergency. No. In fact, in a March 2021 interaction with Professor Kaushik Basu, Rahul Gandhi ji said that the emergency was a mistake. The same thing was said by then Congress President Sonia Gandhi ji in May 2004. The same thing Dr. Manmohan Singh said in a book by his daughter. And the same thing was also said by former President Pranab Mukherjee. So the top rung of the Congress party leadership is on the same page. Can anyone in the BJP have the humility or the decency to do the same thing for what they have done in the last decade? Federal principles have been trampled upon. Elected governments have been toppled, often with the connivance of constitutional authorities. Institutions are misused and deployed against NGOs, the media and the opposition. 2 sitting CMs are in jail. Houses of Muslims and Dalits are being razed, possibly as retribution for not voting for the BJP. Welfare schemes are being systematically undermined. Isn't this an undeclared emergency? And Poonamji, I want to dissect this further because this is something that people keep raising. This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying that this is the party's opinion. But when the emergency was declared, it happened in a certain context. Foreign governments were being toppled in Argentina, Iran, and a host of nations. India had just split Pakistan into 2, and we were being crippled by nationwide strikes. Possible elected governments were being toppled, and the opposition was openly prodding the armed forces to mutiny. I am not defending the excesses of the emergency, especially the attack on minorities and civic and media freedoms.
One of the reasons you said was because there was widespread protest. Well, many would say that is free speech and that's a democratic right that the government had,
That's
that
fine,
the people in this country had.
I'm saying
but
look
sure,
at the context.
the allegations that you've made...
No, the point that I'm trying to make, Poonamji, that it was happening in a certain context.
Sure, I take that point that it happened in a context. Indira Gandhi back then justified that as well, saying that it was the need of the hour to save democracy. The exact argument that the Congress seems to be making now, but they don't want to talk about the emergency. It's the same argument you're making now. Sure,
I said that the leadership has
and the BJP will respond to the allegations that you've made against the Modi government. But I want to ask you this. You said right at the beginning that the government does not want to discuss burning issues like the NEET issue. But that's something that did find mention in the president's speech today as well. And so far, there have been no debates or discussions at all in Parliament. There is still time for that to happen.
Yes, they can happen. The point is it was obfuscated. The entire NEET issue, the NET scam was obfuscated. Responsibility needs to be accounted. There are 2 ministers, not just that, even the railway accidents. 2 ministers need to pay the price. Moral responsibility, constitutional responsibility, Raj is something that every government has.
Accountability needs to be fixed, and that will be fixed as the government has promised through the president's address today as well. But Shahzad Poonawalla, this is undeclared emergency is what the opposition, not just the Congress, an entire opposition has been saying for the last 4 days, ever since the first mention of the emergency by the Prime Minister, even before the Lok Sabha convened on Monday.
A lot was said, but very little sense was made out of what was said. And therefore, let me unpack it for your viewers. Here is a party that basically lives off what it has done 75 years ago. At every instant quotes, oh, Nehruji did this, Indiraji did this, Rajivji did this. And that very party is now saying that why do we need to go back and remember what happened 50 years ago, when in Parliament, many occasions, including Bhopal gas tragedy, I can remember 2014, 2016, on various occasions, such references have been made by the Speaker because the House has to take a resolve that we are against such a thing. Now, he said that we do not defend the excesses of emergency, we have apologized for emergency. Then in that case, you should not be opposing the resolution on emergency. How can you oppose the resolution on emergency and then say we are apologetic? In fact, the Speaker went ahead and said that, look, there was a certain context in which the emergency happened. That is laying the foundations for actually defending the emergency. Which context actually justifies the imposition of emergency? Perhaps only context I can remember is Rajiv Gandhi saying, oh, Mama did it, and if I had the powers, I would do it too, because Mama was right in imposing emergency. He actually said that to a newspaper. And there is Bhupesh Baghel, who very recently said that Indira had the courage, she imposed a declared emergency. This is their view on the emergency. And by the way, if this was so partisan and if this was so divisive or controversial, members of the SP, TMC and DMK don't seem to agree with you or your point of view. In fact, today you are completely isolated in this India alliance because members of the SP, DMK and TMC, not TMC but DMK and SP for sure, have suffered the excesses of emergency. Their leaders were put in jail. As far as considering the damage to democracy and federalism, there were two pictures that went out yesterday. One was a picture where Rahul Gandhi, despite his commentary on Narendra Modi ji says that please go ahead and welcome the Speaker and let's take him to the chair of the Speaker. And the other picture was from the Tamil Nadu Assembly. The only fault of the members of opposition of the Tamil Nadu Assembly is that they are raising the killings of 63 Dalits in Kallakurichi, over which Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Vadra, Khadge, Congress party, which talks about North-South, Dalit Lives Matter, etc., has been eloquently silent. And he has been suspended for the entire period. Those running around with the copy of Samvidhan in their hands have been silent on that. Those who say they are the defenders of Samvidhan should actually be celebrating this resolution. But unfortunately, things don't change even over a period of 50 years. It's that mindset of my way or highway. Dadima had it, and it seems Pota also has it, because he wants to think that everything his family does, they should get credit for. But those ills that have been stuck to democracy by his family should not be remembered because those are above scrutiny. And finally, if you want to discuss about NEET, let us discuss about NEET. The next part of the show is about discussion on NEET. Nobody has prevented. But why haven't you discussed as to how your leader Priyanka Vadra spread a fake video of Ayushi Patel? Why haven't you spoken about Tejasvi Yadav's PA's link to the entire mastermind of the NEET scandal? Why are you eloquently silent on that? West Bengal has seen post-poll violence and killings. The High Court has come down heavily. What about saving democracy there? What about democracy and all its virtues that you don't preach in parts of India alliance governments where the excesses are taking place? This shows your double speak. This shows your double standard. The only point is that the Congress party does not want to confront the truth. They were the villains of the worst and the worst violators of this constitution. They changed Ambedkarji's constitution and they don't want to confront that truth.
Quick rebuttal, Mr. Deshpande, before I get in the other gentleman in as well. It's not just about the emergency. You talk about the constitution and this entire narrative that the BJP wanted to change constitution if they had gotten brute majority, but they've been stopped in their tracks because of the kind of numbers that have come to the fore. But several instances in the past would show that the Congress can be accused of the very same thing. Several additions have been made into the constitution in the past, like Article 35A, which was done without a parliament consent, which was not even called an amendment. It was an annexure that was added as part of the constitution. As far as dismissal of governments is concerned, the Congress government, when it was UPA, has also been accused of doing so using parts of the constitution or provisions in the constitution, and have dismissed several state governments in the past.
A bunch of things here. Firstly, two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, something that may have happened in the past doesn't mean that it doesn't justify or legitimize what is happening today. That's one thing. The second thing is, I don't think.
So you admit that there are multiple wrongs in the past.
No, I'm saying that this is a hypothetical. You're talking in hypotheticals. A completely hypothetical situation.
No, I'm not talking in
This is
hypothetical
a-
situation.
this is a thought
The
experiment.
fact that Article
Let me finish
35A
what I'm
was
saying.
brought in with a presidential order without the Parliament's consent is not
Let me finish.
hypothetical. It's
No,
a
no, no,
fact.
no, no. Let me finish, Poonam
The
ji.
fact
My
the
point
fact
is-
that
let me finish,
the
let me
fact that
finish.
90 times state governments were
Poonam ji,
dismissed
if
is
you
not
could
hypothetical.
continue-
It's a fact.
If you could be as neutral as the channel would want you to be, it would help me also.
I
What I'm
am
trying
as
to
neutral,
say-
sir. You said I was
Let
talking
me
about
say something.
hypothetical
Don't interrupt
situations,
me.
but
I
I
don't
stated
remember-
facts. So
Let
I'm
me
just
say
trying to
something.
correct you
Don't
there. But
interrupt
yes,
me.
please go ahead.
Poonam ji, don't interrupt. Na. Let me finish what I'm
I
saying.
didn't.
What I'm trying to say.
Sir, I'm just trying to correct what you said. That's all. But go
My
ahead.
point is, the amendment that was added during the emergency was the 42nd amendment, which added secularism and socialism. If you think that is a problem, if the BJP genuinely has a problem with those two, why don't they move a bill today? That's my first question to them. That's one thing. I don't think they have the guts to do that because they have paid a price. Second thing is, every time there has been any kind of excesses or any kind of mistake that the Congress party has done in the past, the Janta has given them a clear signal. There have been, after all, the Janta is the Janardhan. The elections determine whether we are right or not. The courts determine whether we are right or not. So wherever this thing happens, the Congress has paid its dues and it's moved on. My point is, it's been 49 years. A lot of water has flown under the bridge. The Congress has changed. The nation has changed. Let us focus on what is happening today. Let's not focus about what is happening then. It is wrong for you to misuse constitutional authorities, whether they are governors, speakers, vice presidents, or presidents, to make partisan points. So that is the issue that we are raising right now. The government wants to be partisan.
One
It
line.
is supposed to be partisan. It is supposed to
One
be
line.
political. Fine,
Sure.
be that. Raise those issues. But have a constructive debate.
One
Don't
line.
misuse institutions.
I'll come to you, Shehzad.
Authorities.
One line.
Yes, Shehzad. 30
One
seconds.
line.
I
One
need to
very
get in
quick
Javed
intervention.
Ansari and
So,
Karan Verma in as well. 30 seconds.
Poonam, let's talk about today. So please can Mr. Deshpande in simple English explain to us why the leader of opposition in Tamil Nadu Assembly has been kicked out for the entire session only because he raised the deaths of Dalit people from Kalakuruchi. Can you please tell me, Mr. Deshpande, in not so fancy English, as to why Mamata Banerjee and Rahul Gandhi, your leader, on which you've written a book, I presume, has not been able to wish the Prime Minister on the third time that he has been sworn in as the Prime Minister, which is a basic democratic convention. Forget the conventions that you were talking about, which you yourself don't follow, whether it's about the pro tem speaker or about the deputy speaker. Why, Mr. Pushparaj Deshpande, did you boycott the Samvidhan Divas program if you are such big champions of Samvidhan, especially when it was presided by a tribal president of India? Why is it that your leader, Mr. Khadge, boycotted the Independence Day program, which had nothing to do with politics?
Sure,
Can
so the
you
point that the
please tell
BJP
us,
is trying to
since
make
you are
here-
such big champions of
Sure,
Constitution?
so the point that the BJP has been trying to make here is that of hypocrisy and double standards. Let me get in the other two gentlemen who've been patiently waiting in as well. Karan Verma, this is not the time, this is not the place, this is not the office that should have been used to raise these issues, to speak of the emergency. That seems to be the main objection as far as the Congress and the rest of the opposition is concerned.
Poonam, this is very much the time, this is very much the place where this should be raised with full conviction and full power so that this current generation and the future generations know how the Congress trampled upon the rights of the citizens of this country. I mean, can you imagine the enormity of the situation? 140,000 put in prison without trial, press censored, mass sterilization happening. The citizens today cannot fathom what happened, transpired back in 1975. And our friend from Congress says, oh, too much water has flown under. Well, you've been a repeat offender, just so you know. Yes, you've not had the numbers to impose an emergency after that. But in 1985, in June of 1985, Rajiv Gandhi on the floor of the House said, I stand by the decision that was taken in 1975, and if any Prime Minister should get another opportunity, he should have the guts to impose emergency. He did not put emergency off the table. What did they do when they brought about the Anti-Defamation Bill in 1988, where they wanted to censor everything that the press came out, pre-censorship? It was the media that fought that battle, and they had to take it back. Rajiv Gandhi had to literally take it back. What happened during the Manmohan Singh years, by the way? 12,000 activists pressed with sedition charges, 8,500 in a single day. And the Home Minister goes to court and says they are anti-nationals. In Chhattisgarh, where they had their state government just a few years back, they pressed sedition charges on an individual who complained of electricity theft. Can you imagine this? And in India Alliance, they sit with Mamata Banerjee. 50 are killed in Punjab. panchayat polls. Right now also, post the Lok Sabha polls, people are being slaughtered. It's the Calcutta High Court that comes heavily on them, and then they sit together and plot and pontificate to the world about saving democracy. Rahul Gandhi and Mamata Banerjee. Shame on this attitude. This is the hypocrisy. The Congress, still they don't have the numbers. They talk about all this bhaichara, secularism, equality, liberal values. The moment they get the first whiff of power, they want to crush dissent, they want to impose sedition, and they want to suspend your rights. This is the true chal and charitra of the Congress party, and it should be raised. And why are they so defensive about it? If they are truly apologetic and they have an iota of pride, they should own it up and apologize to the nation and say that yes, we also condemn the incident that happened in 75 and we'll never ever do it again. Why don't you join the chorus today? Why are you so defensive about it? That's the big question.
But the Congress on its part has said that we've apologized for it in the past. Let's talk about the present. And that is something that a lot of people in this country want to talk about. What the main objection really was as far as the president's address is concerned is that we wanted to see the government's vision for the next 5 years. Yes, we've heard about the achievements, many of which the opposition wants to contest, but we want to see a blueprint, and that was lacking. Javed Ansari, that criticism many would feel is valid of the government today.
Look, as far as the president is concerned, she doesn't have much of a choice, she or he, whoever the president is. The norm is that the speech is prepared by the cabinet, sent to the president, and all they have to do is, the most they can do is send it back with certain suggestions. Yet, if the government still continues, insists on that, they have no alternative, no option but to read that speech verbatim. And that's what President Murmu did. If she had done anything otherwise, departed from text, that would have been a violation. So President Murmu, as far as the speaker is concerned, that too on the first day, maybe there is something that can be said for the way in my view, it could have been handled a lot better. The government could have brought a resolution rather than getting the speaker to say it. The parliamentary affairs minister could have moved it. It could have been a government resolution rather than getting involving the speaker's house, the speaker's office. As far as misuse is concerned, no political party here is smelling of roses. None of them can claim the high moral ground. Whoever is in power to varying degrees uses and misuses their office. Nobody likes dissent. Very few governments like accountability, and the media invariably suffers at their hands, depending on whoever is in power. Nobody likes to be questioned. Nobody likes accountability. So you can't cherry pick here that I am clean and I am innocent and the other one isn't. And if indeed, look, amongst all the four panelists here, I think I am the only one who probably lived through emergency. All of you are much younger than me, and I am not so sure if you all were around there. So I know that some of the stuff that happened during the emergency is even happening now. And if you're really against all those draconian measures that were taken during the emergency, then please desist from repeating those draconian measures now. And is the emergency the only thing? What about December 6th? Should not a resolution be passed that no, the Supreme Court has termed it to be a criminal act? Should not the government have moved? Should not the Speaker and the President have spoken about that? There's a case for that as well. Should not a case be? There is a case for what happened with the Golden Temple. And above all, Manipur is, forget the past, look at the present. Where is Manipur? Has anybody said a word? Has anybody even whispered about Manipur?
It was discussed to some extent during the last session, during which also several opposition members of parliament were not there, is what the BJP claims.
Poonam, let's be fair, we are discussing the present, we are discussing
may I respond now?
And the president's speech.
So those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. That's really the point, Shehzad Poonawala, that's being made. Yes, you had a counter to make to what Javed Ansari was saying.
Let me address. Yes, let me address one point at a time. First of all, the reason why the Speaker's office and the Speaker's office reading out references or resolutions isn't something that is unconventional. It has been done when it comes to Bhopal gas tragedy on multiple occasions. This was not a partisan resolution. It was not a resolution of BJP or NDA. It was a resolution of the House representing the sentiment of every Indian. There can't be two views about emergency. There can't be partisanship when it comes to emergency and condemning it wholly and wholesomely. Secondly, you have just now spoken a lot, but you have not said even one word about what has happened to the AIDMK leader of opposition, Tamil Nadu Assembly. Leave that as it may. I want to ask you that has Congress really learned from the lessons of emergency? Let me show something, because sir was saying that I was old enough to remember the atrocities of emergency. Here is July 8, 1985 news report of Rajiv Gandhi. And I hope Mr. Pushparaj Deshpande will condemn it. Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi said he will not hesitate to follow his mother's example and impose emergency rule on the country if it was needed. Now I want Mr. Deshpande to condemn Rajiv Gandhi's statement, and secondly, forget Rajiv Gandhi. I'll make you hear a statement of just few days ago. Bhupesh Baghel, listen.
लेकिन इंदिरा जी में साहस थी, उन्होंने घोषित आपातकाल लगाया था.
इंदिरा जी में साहस थी, उन्होंने घोषित आपातकाल लगाया. एंड लेट मी ऑल्सो एड्रेस मणिपुर. सर, आई विल टेक दैट क्वेश्चन ऑन विदाउट एनी हेजिटेशन. In Manipur, and the violence in Manipur has taken place in 93, 97, you must have been around covering it also. At that time, not a MOS went and visited Manipur, even though the number of deaths were much more. Not a single statement was laid in the House. This time, there was not just a no confidence motion, the Home Minister and the Prime Minister both spoke, and the opposition ran away. And please ask Mr. Deshpande, if they were so concerned about Manipur, why haven't they moved a no confidence motion against the government of Manipur, the Chief Minister of Manipur? No confidence motion there, even though they have because they have Mete MLAs, they have other MLAs which they have to consider. So because of that political consideration, they have not even taken one step in Manipur, which they come and take in Delhi. And finally, sir, you spoke about 6 December resolution. Fantastic, sir. Let's have it. Let the Congress move a 6 December resolution if they want to. And let them also ask Uddhav Sena, which takes pride in bringing the Babri down. Maybe Pushparaj Deshpande, who's from Maharashtra, would be able to ask Mr. Uddhav Thackeray what his view is on the Babri demolition.
Okay, Mr. Deshpande, several issues brought by the BJP there. You could answer all of them, but I have a question to you as well. We're now going to be seeing both tomorrow and on Monday, we're going to be seeing a discussion on the President's address. Would there be constructive discussion? This is a time where several issues, including the NEET one that the opposition wants to discuss, could come up. This is something that could be discussed during those 21 hours that have been allotted for that discussion in the Lok Sabha. Would we then see constructive debates, discussion take place in Parliament? That is what the Parliament is meant for.
Yes, Poonamji, I think that the entire India bloc, as well as the Congress party, is committed to having a constructive debate in the national interest. And that is something that Rahul Gandhi, as the leader of opposition, said when he thanked Prime Minister Modi, when he congratulated Prime Minister Modi for getting elected for the third time, something that the BJP spokesperson seems to have missed. Perhaps if he listens to what others say rather than just touting facts, it might be better. Yeah, let me finish. You had your speech now. Let me finish.
Not done it.
The second thing is, let me finish.
Can you tell me when he congratulated? Can you tell us when he congratulated?
On the floor of the House. आप सुनिए जाके floor of the House पे congratulate किया कि आप पहली बार चुन के आए, हम लोग साथ कोशिश करेंगे.
You know, that's the problem. Please play out his entire speech. He has not congratulated Prime Minister. He's congratulated the Speaker.
But आगे चलिए. Anyway, the second thing is he talked about the
Rahul
fact
Gandhi doesn't inspire you to listen anyways.
That's your problem. He is
Rahul Gandhi doesn't inspire us to listen to him anyways. No, it's not my problem. It's right now your Congress's problem.
For a party that claims to be listening to for a party that claims to be touting democratic values, you don't want to listen to the opposition. I really don't know what to say. That's the one thing. Second thing is you spoke about Tamil Nadu.
You are listening to the opposition in Tamil Nadu clearly.
No, I'm talking about Tamil Nadu. बोलने दीजिए. In Tamil Nadu, Speaker Avappu has assured Speaker Avappu has assured the House that we are going to take up this issue the minute question hour finishes. The government is wanting to respond to this issue. Please let question hour proceed. He said this on day 1, on day 2 and day 3.
63 deaths require question hour to be finished first.
Let me AIDMK first. I think we can talk
63 Dalit lives require a question hour to be finished.
But there are certain protocols that have to be mentioned in Parliament. You have to, in every assembly.
So how come they are not followed in the central Parliament?
Let me finish. Poonam, I'd like you to intervene to let the BJP spokesperson not heckle and bully me. Let me finish. The point is that he's asked, let the question hour finish. If they could have used the legislative devices in their arsenal and moved a resolution asking for suspension of question hour. They've not done that. They started protesting, which is why, and they've started creating a ruckus, which is why the speaker was forced to suspend them. The government has taken action, is wanting to discuss it, is waiting to discuss it. The AIDMK is doing that. And let me finish.
Has Rahul Gandhi tweeted on Kallakurichi?
Shehzad, let him finish. Shehzad, I'll give you your time. Let's not do this. Let him finish, please.
On Kallakurichi.
Shehzad, I request you to please let him finish. I will come back to you. I will give you time to make your rebuttals. Let him finish, please. Pushpa Deshpande, go ahead. Please continue.
So I talked about the Tamil Nadu issue here. The third thing is, he said that why didn't the Congress party move a no confidence motion? Arey bhai sahab, let the Manipur assembly be convened. Because of the unrest, there has been no assembly session.
It has been convened.
Then we'll raise it. And
No, that's a lie.
Let me finish.
Poonam, this is a complete lie.
Not letting me speak. What is
It's a complete lie.
Yes. Shehzad, I will give you your time to rebut. Like I said, let him finish. Sir, I'm running out of time, but 30 seconds. 30 seconds for you to finish.
And the thing is, I want to ask the BJP spokesperson, if an opposition leader asks the army, the armed force, to revolt and mutiny against the elected government, it is in their constitutional oath to defend the sovereignty and integrity of India. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit by and just sit idle, or are you going to take the necessary steps to defend the constitution and the sovereignty of India? That is what Indira Gandhi did. It spilled over into something else. We've conceded that. Rahul Gandhi has conceded that. Sonia Gandhi has conceded that. Manmohan Singh has conceded that. President Pranab Mukherjee has conceded that. No one is denying that. But it happened in a certain context. Why is the BJP not apologizing for what it is doing today?
Sure.
It is deporting
and
journalists.
when you defended the emergency at the beginning of the show, also you said this may not be the party stand, this may be your personal view, and I'm sure some in the party would agree with you on that as well. But you speak about Manipur, and Shehzad wants to come in. But since violence erupted last year in Manipur, after that there have been assembly sessions that have taken place. But Shehzad, yes, go ahead.
Exactly, Poonam. The Congress party has made it now its charitra to lie about everything, including issues like NEET and Manipur. Here is the Economic Times report that the Manipur assembly session convened in February. So Mr. Deshpande should lie. And secondly, I'm going to give the rest of my time to Mr. Deshpande. Please don't interrupt. Please do not interrupt. Now do not interrupt. Poonam, can he now follow his own principle?
Mr. Deshpande, I had given you your time. I had asked Shehzad to not interrupt you. Now please accord him the courtesy as well. Yes. Yes, Shehzad, go ahead.
Now I'm going to give you the rest of my time. Forget Assembly of Tamil Nadu. Why hasn't Rahul Gandhi, who talks about North South and Dalit Lives Matter, tweeted one tweet about Kallakurichi deaths, or taken action, or asked the prohibition minister to be sacked?
How do you know that he hasn't? How do you know that he's not in talks with Tamil Nadu government? Are you privy to the inner?
He hasn't tweeted one word. Not one word. Illa, zero, nothing.
Or do you want it to be performance? See, he's not being performative.
Yes, we want action to be taken and him to speak. We want both.
How do you know that he's not speaking?
You wanted Modi to speak.
How do you know Modi to speak? Are you
how do I know? Then show us the action. Show us the action.
On him with Pegasus.
Show us the action.
How do you know what is happening between him and the DMK?
You're making juvenile arguments. Show us the action.
How do you know
no,
what
but
is
happening? But it's a question,
Mr.
Deshpande, that people would ask, right? Sure, we're not privy to all conversations that happen between state governments, between leaders, sure. But justice, as much as being done, should also be seen to be done. And that's really where the confidence in people comes from.
It is the responsibility of the Tamil Nadu government. Tamil Nadu government will take action. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Sure.
As far as it's our moral responsibility to tell
so
them
that same assurance is also coming from the central government as far as the NEET exam and the NTMS is concerned.
Not about the train accidents or the Jammu Kashmir terror sites.
Even in that case, the government has said, yes, we will discuss it, we will probe it. There have been those assurances that have come to the fore from that as well. But if that is something that you don't take at face value for the government, then why should one expect that?
No. What I'm saying is talk about everything. Take action. But why do you obfuscate the issue by raising a bogey 50 years ago? Take responsibility and accountability now.
Sure.
That's all Tamil Nadu has happened now.
Sure.
So let the Tamil Nadu government.
So Karan Verma.
Be held accountable.
Sure. No, Shehzad Poonawala and Mr. Deshpande, I'd like to interrupt here. I want to get in Javed Ansari and Karan Verma in as well before I have to end this. But Karan Verma, it's also about what was done 50 years ago, what's being done now, and who can claim high moral ground. Like Javed Ansari said, maybe no political party can do so, but one must strive to be better. If the Modi government came out and has multiple times said that we will not be what the Congress has done, then they have to walk the talk. That's also something that the people of this country would want to see happen.
So, with all due respect to Javed Ansari Saab, and I have a lot of respect for him, I think when he equates the two and does this monkey balancing, it is grossly unfair. What happened in 1975 was unprecedented by all standards. You can't compare it to one-off incidents which are aberrations under the regime of any other government. What the Congress party did in 1975, and they followed it up. I give you multiple instances. That is unprecedented. If you're trying to just do monkey balancing, I don't think you are being fair to the cause. The Congress party, even right now, it's not just 1975. Mr. Shahzad just raised a point about what happened in the Tamil Nadu Assembly. You have two templates here, Poonam. One template is where they are ready to discuss NEET, threadbare. They are not shooing away the opposition leader out of the house. And here you have where they tried to brush it under the carpet. If not for the BJP raising this issue, they tried their best to make sure this doesn't come out. And when the opposition leader raises it, they make sure he's carried out of the assembly. So this is the brute force they are using against any voice of dissent. And that is their challenge, Charitra. That is what we need to raise here and talk about.
Sure.
We need to have a sense of proportion. We can't say sab aise hi hai. Sab aise hi nahi hai. Congress party has shown unprecedented excesses in terms of trampling on human rights, in terms of trampling
which
on
I don't think Javed Ansari is denying either. Which I don't think Javed Ansari is denying either. But yes.
I think in hindsight you might want to reconsider the term you use, monkey balancing. If for nothing else, I'm much older to you. I don't know you. I've never had occasion to meet you, but Shehzad knows me better. There's lots of stuff, and I also have a bit of knowledge of the English language. There's lots of stuff I can use to describe you or my opponent, but I've never done it, and I will not be tempted despite what you may say. Okay? You were talking of people being thrown out. What happened in the previous Lok Sabha? 144 MPs for the first time in the history of Indian Parliament were thrown out. Was that great? Was that a great advocacy of democracy? Was that being even-handed? So please consider.
Javed Ansari, I just want to end on this note. You know, the parliament session has just about begun. We are going to be seeing another few days before this ends and then the budget session. But is this sort of confrontationist tone that has already been set? Can we expect something productive to come out of this?
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not just in this session, but this is, you know, the template has been set. Unfortunately, for Indian parliamentary democracy, the template has been set. We will see far more confrontation, we will see far more clashes than cooperation. Unfortunately, that's the truth. I hope to God my fears are proved wrong, but it's unlikely.
And we can only hope that our members of parliament across all political lines do better for us, for the electorate, for the voters that have put them there in the parliament in the first place. I'd like to end on that note, and I thank all the panelists who joined us sharing their perspective on this big issue. Time for a quick break here on this edition of The Hard Facts. But on the other side, we will discuss the NEET issue. What needs to be done? Is what the government doing is enough, or is the opposition merely for the sake of it? We'll come back right with that.
Came to college, saw few players, like few students playing for fun, joined them in college. Then realized that they had formed a college cricket club, and they used to play college tournaments. So just started playing for fun, like alongside my studies there. Got a job in San Francisco, discovered club cricket on the weekends. There it was mostly social cricket. Started playing that for fun every weekend with my job. I didn't used to train or practice or anything like that, just used to play on the weekends. In those club teams, I had a few teammates who were part of the national team at that time. So that's when I discovered about the existence of the national team. We had prepared well. leading into the tournament, we had two series. We played a 5-match T20 series against Canada and we won 5-0. And we played a T20 series against Bangladesh and we won 2-1. I think that gave us a lot of confidence that the team combination was forming well and everybody was performing in their roles. I think it's made a big difference. You can see local media have caught on to it. A lot of local people had shown up for the games and
Welcome back. You're watching The Hard Facts and we're coming to you from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studio. The one burning issue across the country, the one that the opposition has been vehemently raising its voice for, is that of the examination mess, particularly around the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. With exams being cancelled or postponed, lakhs of aspirants are uncertain about the road ahead for them. Protests have been held across different states over the last few weeks against the body that conducts this exam, along with several others, the National Testing Agency. In fact, just this evening, members of the NSUI, which is the Congress's students' wing, barged into the NTA office and demanded that it be shut down. This was just a few hours after the same organization poured onto the streets of the national capital against the government. But the central government has promised a thorough investigation in these alleged irregularities. That confirmation came to the fore from the president as well. She, in fact, today, while reading out the government's blueprint, assured the country of an independent probe and pointed to the need to rise above partisan politics. Politics was not the need of the hour. Solutions are, is the point she was trying to make. Interestingly, even as she made that remark, one could hear NEET chants being raised from the opposition side.
हाल ही में कुछ परीक्षाओं में हुई पेपर लीक की घटनाओं की निष्पक्ष जांच और दोषियों को कड़ी से कड़ी सजा दिलवाने के लिए मेरी सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है। हमारे इससे पहले भी हमने देखा है कि कई राज्यों में पेपर लीक की घटनाएं होती रही है। इस पर दलीय राजनीति से ऊपर उठकर देशव्यापी ठोस उपाय करने की जरूरत है। संसद ने भी परीक्षा में होने वाली गड़बड़ियों के विरुद्ध एक सख्त कानून बनाया है। मेरी सरकार परीक्षाओं से जुड़ी संस्थाओं, उनके कामकाज के तरीके, परीक्षा प्रक्रिया सभी में बड़ी सुधार करने की दिशा में काम कर रही है।
Now, the government has taken multiple steps so far. Let's take a look at what those are. Even though the opposition may not believe or take them at face value, here's what the government's done. They formed an expert panel to rejig the functioning of the National Testing Agency. They've also notified rules for the Public Examinations Act, which is to ensure anti-cheating, which is to ensure prevention of unfair means. The government has also removed the DG of the NTA, Subodh Kumar. This is over the irregularities and leaks that we've seen. CBI has taken over the cases as far as Bihar, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Gujarat is concerned of paper leaks specifically and the bigger nexus. Arrests have been made as well, especially in Bihar and in Maharashtra. But the opposition is not convinced. The opposition has been raising this issue of NEET examinations and the mess around it, both inside and outside Parliament. Rahul Gandhi, in fact, has gone on to say that the Prime Minister is silent on tampering with future of lakhs of students. Samajwadi Party MP and Chief Akhilesh Yadav went on to say that paper leaks have been spread from Uttar Pradesh to Delhi and there are crores of students that are being cheated by this government. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that the only way to deal with this mess was to abolish NEET and to go back to the decentralized system of holding these exams and give it back to the states. M.K. Stalin, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, remember Tamil Nadu was one of those first states to fight against NEET. He's come out and said that paper leaks and mark inflation are pitfalls of this government's centralization policies. Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Sena UBT came out and said that there's absolutely no accountability as far as this education emergency is concerned. So while we talk about the emergency 50 years ago, should we talk about the emergency that the country is in midst of as far as the education system is concerned? Joining me on this broadcast, Shahzad Poonawala, of course, continues to be with us. Aman Asim, spokesperson of the Congress and founder of Scholars Den, Vivek Thakur joins us as well. Let me start with the spokesperson of the Congress. Several steps being taken by the central government. The president today has also gone on to say that a free and fair independent probe will be conducted, accountability will be fixed. Why is the Congress not taking this at face value? Why are you not convinced with the government's outreach?
Simply because this is the very same government that on a few days ago denied there was anything called a NEET paper leak. This is the very same education minister who believed that this was a politicization of the matter and simply said that this is a localized issue. But today, the same demands that we as the NSUI and the Congress party and the opposition have raised is exactly what the government is doing today. We had demanded a CBI probe long ago into this matter. We had demanded the removal of the NTA director. The same things that we as an opposition have been demanding for the past 15, 20 days, accepting that there has been a fault, had not been accepted by this government. So if you look at the comments on social media of the thousands of students who have been impacted, they call this the no trust agency. They call this a leakage sarkar. The public does not trust this government to conduct examinations fairly, does not trust them to even be able to conduct an investigation into this freely. That is the fact of the matter, and he will continue raising the voice of these thousands and millions of students who are impacted by this. Simply because we need to be assured that there will be a fair probe, and even if it goes to the highest of authorities.
But is hitting the streets, barging into the NTA's office, is that the solution? Or is that merely a political point that the Congress is trying to make? Because that's what the BJP accuses you of just trying to make political brownie points out of this issue.
Let me remind you that this issue is something we had raised even before the NEET issue has come up. Rahul Gandhi ji has met multiple students of paper leak examinations across the country before the election season, during the election season as well, and has been a key part of our manifesto. We had criticized the government for bringing up a paper leak law that was weak. We have raised this issue even before NEET came up. So if it is anybody who is raising the students' voice, it has been the Congress party. And if it comes to politicization, we should talk about the government that does Pariksha Pe Charcha. But when we want to have Pariksha Pe Charcha, it's called politicization. You decide it's convenient to call students to a stadium and talk to them in a one-way traffic manner. That is fine. But when we want to discuss student issues and when students want to discuss the conduct of their exams with you, that becomes politicization. I don't think
anybody is denied a discussion. In fact, the parliament is functioning. We would be seeing a discussion on NEET as promised by the government. But let me get in the BJP spokesperson in as well. Shehzad, there were several flip-flops right since the beginning as far as the education ministry was concerned, as far as the NTA is concerned, which is why it's difficult to take the measures that have been taken now at face value. And that's not just the opposition saying it. Many concerned parents, many concerned students, many concerned aspirants are also raising those questions.
First of all, without an iota of doubt, let me concede that NTA has left lot to be desired. And therefore, today there are two sides of actions that are taking place. One is a criminal action, which the CBI has taken over. It is going to reach the bottom of the entire case. But one is an institutional action. And that institutional action, if you see, the Radhakrishnan committee has already commenced its work so that we can go towards a zero error or error-free examination process. But having said that, and I am happy for young people like the panelists from NSUI or any member from the Congress party to go and give their views to the committee that has been constituted, or even come to parliament and have a more robust discussion. But having said that, because the spokesperson from NSUI was very perturbed about politicization, let me actually ask him a question. Students anywhere across the country are important for the NSUI and for the Congress, I'm assuming that. So can he please, with hand on his heart, when 20 papers were leaked in Rajasthan and Mr. Rahul Gandhi was walking with the main accused of the paper leak, Mr. Gopal Kesawat, and when Suresh Dhaka, the main mastermind, was defended by Salman Khurshid, and at that time the Rajasthan government was so lackadaisical that their own minister Sachin Pilot had to go on the streets and demand that certain action be taken against the paper leak mafia. Can Mr. Whoever the spokesperson is, a good gentleman, I don't remember his name, from NSUI, please tell me that how many times Rahul Gandhi spoke, took action, and how many times NSUI protested? Now let me come to another issue. Why has this situation occurred? This situation has occurred because for the first time, and you would remember that in the UPA era, B.Ed paper, AIEEE paper, CLAT paper, CA paper, all kinds of papers used to leak. The NEET paper was not conducted first by the NTA, it was done by the CBSE. The Supreme Court felt that something is good in the NTA, it gave the NTA along with the other examinations it conducts to conduct this particular exam as well. The NTA last year has conducted 1 crore 30 lakh students examinations, and that has been done without any hiccups. This time they have made huge mistakes, and that means there has to be institutional correction, and the NTA DG has been removed, CBI probe is on. But I want to ask, since you have so many real issues and so many real cases, why was Priyanka Vadra peddling a fake case of Ayushi Patel? Has she apologized or removed that case? And lastly, the person who is behind this paper leak, their links are directly with the India Alliance. Why hasn't the Congress party till now said that Tejasvi Yadav, you and RJD do not deserve to be with us so long as your name is cleared from this entire paper leak issue? Has one statement been made to that effect by Rahul Gandhi? If this is not about politics, Tejasvi's PA booked the room for the mastermind who has done this paper leak, so-called paper leak in Bihar. The spokesperson from NSUI must tell us that how many questions they have asked Tejasvi Yadav and Tejasvi Yadav's PS.
Mr. Asim, your quick rebuttal before I get in Mr. Thakur as well.
Actually, there's a longer rebuttal that I'd want to give Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla, but I'll quickly answer all of these questions because I have, if you look very recently, there's an investigation by an online news portal which shows the Prime Minister with a key accused of the scam from Gujarat. He's a member of the Arya Samaj who has been blamed in an online news portal. I don't want to name
which
it
online news portal?
The Wire has released an article today of
You're
showing
quoting any portal?
No. I'm sure I can show
Is it all to news?
I can share this with you. That it's
you're quoting all to news or what?
That the Prime Minister is with a key accused of this
Don't
scam.
quote facts.
The Arya Samaj background.
Shehzad, let him finish. Shehzad, let him finish. I'll come back to you.
Finish. I gave you a minute to speak of what
Is this a fact? Poonam, are you allowing this unverified stuff to be said?
He's giving you the source of where it's coming from. Let him finish. I'll come back to you.
You had all your drama ready. Let me also say what I have to say. There are linkages of the BJP allies like the LJP with the kingpin from Bihar as well. So we can go into who's been with who on which stage. We can discuss this in detail. But that does not solve the question of where students come in. Coming to the question of Rajasthan. Rajasthan was one of the first states to come up with a law to protect against exam paper leaks, way before the central laws came into play. If you take into the fact that we had internal opposition towards what was happening with paper leaks in Rajasthan, that shows that we acted on those matters and we showed that we are able to solve this. And even today, with the Rajasthan BJP government being present, there are still paper leaks happening in Rajasthan. So who do we blame for this now? And this is the government that believes so much in centralization. So if we have seen 65 exams being leaked across 19 states under this period of this government, why has the government taken so long to come up with a law? And the law which they passed as well has been so ineffective that still papers are being leaked.
Sure. So there are structural reforms that are required. Let me get in Vivek Thakur as well. No, let me get in Vivek Thakur as well. I don't have enough time on this. Shehzad, I'll come back to you, but let me get in Vivek Thakur as well. Structural reforms are required and surely they cannot be done overnight. That time and patience is required. Yes, it may be unfair to ask these anxious parents and students and aspirants to keep patience at this time. But if we want reform for the National Testing Agency, then time must pass. Accountability will be fixed once every single issue is weeded out and a solution is found for that.
See, Poonam, it's not just about this NEET UG case leak. The larger question that you're asking about the structure and reforms. See, had media not persisted, had the students not persisted on the streets, and had the teachers like me had not persisted on this, that there's some large-scale rigging in this exam, probably this NEET UG issue wouldn't have come to light even, because the FIR was registered on the 5th of May in Patna, Shastri Nagar police station. And the youth and the students in particular, in this case, they do not have trust on either of the two parties who are being represented here on your show. Because it's not just about 65 leaks in last 5 years. See, if all these things would not have persisted for last maybe 45 days or 50 days, probably this would have been brushed aside under the carpet. Like our HRD minister, he said that NTA has clean chit in this case. And so many more exams would have come to light if this kind of intensity would have persisted. And let me tell you very frankly, apart from JEE Advanced, only 2-3 prestigious exams like JEE Advanced and Civil Services exam conducted by UPSC and CAT conducted by IIMs and probably some railway recruitment exams. None of the exams in this country for last maybe 10-15 years are clean. They are not free and fair. This is the larger issue that all political parties should, because of this whole furor that is going on, so much media attention. Even this is the first time probably that a recruitment exam, an entrance exam has become the epicenter of parliamentary proceedings. I think this is the right opportunity for all political parties to come together and sort this mess forever. It's not just about NTA. It's about how we take the exams, entrance exams, how much seriously we take. The biggest example is that since 5th of May, all the people who are persisting that there is something wrong with this exam, because it is all about doctors of the country. It's all about the health of the health system of this country. What if we get Munna Bhai MBBS type doctors in this country in such large numbers like 35, 40,000, and everyone paying almost 35 to 40 lakhs for getting the leaked papers? Such a large scale scam which might involve almost 10,000 crores of rupees. What I want to tell Poonam that these political parties must take this opportunity to set the system correct forever.
Absolutely,
it's not
and
just
all political parties must do that. That's also what the president spoke of, what the government's view is, that all political parties must come together and we must rise above partisan politics. Shehzad, 30 seconds. A lot needs to be done. Accountability needs to be fixed.
Nobody denies that. The government believes that. That's why there's a setup of a committee that is going to look into the institutional loopholes that are there. But having said that, because we are a show on CNN News 18, no some small channel, this person from NSUI quoted that Prime Minister was seen with the key accused, and it has been quoted on online portal. Can he name the portal or the name of the key accused? And even, sorry to say, the person from Scholars Den, he has said that HRD Minister said clean chit to NTA. Can you show me which date the statement was made like this by the HRD Minister? The HRD Minister said that as of now, when you have asked me a question, one second, sir, Mr. Thakur, I did not interrupt you. Mr. Thakur, I speak with facts and I make sure that my facts are on record and perfectly fine. If you have the date of that statement, you show it to me and embarrass me right now. And Mr. NSUI spokesperson must show me which key accused of NEET has been seen with Prime Minister and which portal has quoted this. Is it Alt News? Is he quoting from Mohammed Zubair? I mean, what kind of language Congress uses? Just quotes fake news and runs away? You please give me the online news portal source.
So, give me the source. Sure, 30 seconds to the Congress spokesperson as well before I have to end this. Yes, go ahead.
So I never said that it was for the NEET accused. I said key accused of exam paper leaks across the country. So the accused about this was from the Wire's investigation has shown that there's one Mr. Suresh Chandra Arya of
you take the Wire
edu test
and you
Suresh Chandra. Have you heard of Mr. Suresh Chandra Arya?
But these are allegations and these are instances that come up every single time something like this is there, and it comes from both sides of the aisle. There are pictures that are circulated with certain political party leaders, and that's done from both sides of the aisle. Even in this situation, even in this case, we've seen it happen on both sides, even in the case of Bihar. While Tejasvi Yadav's link was being questioned, Samrat Chaudhary's link was also being questioned. So let's not get into that. It's really what we're talking about is the future of lakhs and crores of students, of aspirants that right now hangs in the balance, which is why accountability needs to be fixed. And all politicians must come together for the larger good, for the larger cause. That's really where I want to end this at. And I thank all of you for joining us here on this broadcast. It's a wrap from my side here on this edition.
Co-powered by.
Very interested in understanding about what the game is. It has created a big buzz actually, and it's on us now to continue that into a major league and into the bilateral series that we play from now on. Hopefully, better teams will be ready to play us in bilateral series, so that we get more exposure and we can try out playing in different conditions. From my side, I don't want to expect anything, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. My hand is
carry on.
Yeah, for me, it's just every time I enter the field, I play any match, I just want to give my best and not think about any fruits of my actions. They will happen. If I deserve, I will get. If not, whatever, I'll keep working hard. I'll keep training and enjoying the game.
Welcome back. Now, the United States team, a debutant at the T20 World Cup 2024, the one who's getting headlined is Saurabh Nalkar. The Maharashtra-born cricketer knocked off both Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the USA versus India game. But that's not his lone occupation. Nalkar is one of the principal software engineers at Oracle, one of the largest software companies in the world. So we got down to understanding ये आदमी है कौन, क्या करता है, देखिए.
Saurabh, first of all, hard luck for the Super 8, but the entire World Cup, you guys have been sensational. So I just want to know how would you summarize the experience of the past few weeks?
Yeah, I think it was a very special journey for each one of us. Grateful to have got the platform, especially hosting an event of such a large scale. We had prepared really well.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studios. Bharat's economy continues to shine among emerging markets. That's what the trackers are saying. With a composite score of 70 out of a maximum possible score of 100, Bharat has retained its top spot for the 6th straight month in the month of May. In fact, we as a nation have maintained the first position for 13 out of the previous 15 months, except for the month of April and November last year, when Bharat had slipped to second place. Now, global tyre giants Michelin, Bridgestone and Goodyear, along with potential investors Yokohama and Birla Tyres, are set to invest around 3,000 crore rupees in Bharat's manufacturing sector under a government scheme linking imports to local investment. This initiative aimed at boosting domestic production following the centre's import restrictions. Bharat has